Hi, welcome back to the Family Formation. This is Brandon.
This is Gage, and today we are on Dallas Cowboys history. They had pick 12, right?
Yeah,
So that
pick
pick
number 12.
Yeah. So, of course, one of the best franchises in all of football history. They were founded in 1960. They have 5 Super Bowls. I mean, really, the only thing bad going for them in their history is Jerry Jones is outdated as hell. He needs to pull himself from the GM spot and be strictly an owner. But I mean, they definitely have a winning history. They've made the playoffs 36 times in 66 seasons.
Yeah, that's one of the better averages.
Yeah, that's
we've
over
seen.
50%. That's
real
a good
good.
average. Yeah.
Yep.
And then a couple Hall of Famers I have here for them, even though it's any Hall of Famer you can think of, probably played at least a season with them. They had Chuck Howley, Troy Aikman, of course, Larry Allen, one of the best, if not the best ever do guard. Lance Allworth, one of the best receivers ever. Harold Carmichael, who I mentioned the Eagles episode 2, it's just he has a special place in my heart for Madden, being a 6'9" wide receiver. And of course, Deion Sanders, who played for a bunch of teams. The Ring of Honor, if I can get it pulled up again. Probably just long list as well. So
Emmitt Smith is in the Hall of Fame.
yeah,
right?
Emmitt Smith. I don't know why I didn't put that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was waiting for you to get to that.
Yeah, it's because I was gonna say him in here. I was
Yeah.
just waiting for the Ring of Honor. So, Charles Haley, big one. Yeah, Emmitt Smith. Leroy Jordan, I know him from Madden as well. Mel Renfro, I never noticed he had that big bald spot there, but he was a hell of a player. Michael Irvin, of course. Roger Staubach, I kind of forget he played for him. I feel like I remember his more.
Oh, yeah, big-time quarterback during the 70s, man.
Yeah, I thought he was a Packers guy for some reason. Yep, that was me. And then Tony Dorsett, and then I think Tex Schramm is probably an owner or a GM. So not as long as the list as I thought
Troy
they'd
Aikman.
have, but yeah, Aikman I mentioned twice already.
Did you? Okay. Yeah.
Can't forget about Aikman.
I think his,
But I'm surprised Tony Romo's not on here.
yeah, you never know. He made some pretty good stats, but that's the difference between him and Troy Aikman. Like, Aikman had good stats, but he was just an overall good leader. Like, he was that guy who would kick him in the ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, I didn't know this going into this. I thought it was going to be Troy Aikman, of course, but their all-time passing leader is actually Tony Romo.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, how's he not in there? He threw 4,335 passes, completing 2,829 of them. He had 34 rushes for. Oh, what's going on here? So it says, yeah, his completions, so then just 34 with nothing after. 34,000. There we go. I got it now. 34,000 yards, 248 touchdowns. So that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, no, he had great stats. He wasn't big on winning in the playoffs, which the Cowboys just haven't been big on winning in the playoffs lately.
Yeah, they're 36 and 31 in the playoffs. So
yeah, and I think most of that drought's come in the 2000s, since the 2000s till now.
Yeah,
and that's why Tony Romo isn't in there. He couldn't get him there. Couldn't get him to a Super Bowl. Couldn't get in it.
Yeah. Yet he still managed to be a better quarterback than announcer.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep, couldn't win the playoffs yet.
I think the biggest thing for me is him fumbling that snap when he was the holder for an extra point.
Yeah,
I think that was a game lost type thing. He fumbled that, tried to get up and run, and got nailed.
Yep.
And I think that was in the playoffs too. So
and then, of course, their all-time rushing leader, the NFL's all-time rushing leader, Emmitt Smith, 4,052 carries, 17,162 yards, and 153 touchdowns.
Beast.
And that's just his production in the run game. He was a hell of a receiving back too.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think he is the greatest overall running back ever.
Definitely Frank Gore. But no, it's a toss-up, I think, between him and Barry.
I think Barry is the most pure runner ever. I just think that Emmitt Smith could just do Emmitt Smith, I feel like a better blocker. He's better at,
If it wasn't for CMC being injury plagued, man, wouldn't be talking about Emmitt anymore. Okay,
I think the only thing that Emmitt did better was, like I said, blocking than
Yeah.
Barry Sanders. Other than that, I think he caught the ball just as good.
I
So
thought he was a better receiver than. I mean, I never watched him live, but from what I've heard, what I've seen, I thought he was a better receiver than Barry.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was at
Yeah.
least as good. But I mean,
Yeah.
Barry's the best overall pure runner. That dude was crazy, but
Yeah.
you know,
Ain't nothing on Derrick Henry.
he'd run circles around Derek. I mean, Derek would run him
Yeah.
over,
Yeah.
but
Okay, their all-time receiving leader. This one was a shock to me. I was thinking it would be Michael Irvin, Lance Allworth, but it's actually Jason Witten.
oh yeah, okay, that's
Yep.
cool. Yeah, he was there for a long time.
Yeah, he had 1,215 receptions for 12,977 yards. So yeah, I'm near 13,000 and 72 touchdowns.
Wow, I knew he was good. I didn't know it was that. I didn't know he'd be their leader, but it doesn't really surprise me. But
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, the only two other guys I could think of over him would be Michael Irvin and Lance Allworth.
mhm.
And then their all-time leading scorer is Emmitt Smith, of course,
Yeah,
986 points scored in his career. I'm trying to think of the kickers they would have had that would have scored that much. I don't know if there is one.
yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think so.
And
They
then,
Novak, maybe
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
They go through
Usually it's
guys quite a
kickers,
bit.
but when
Yeah,
you got a guy like Emmett, it's like there's no kickers keeping up
right.
with that. And then their winningest coach is Tom Landry, 250, 162, and 6.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
He had a long ass career then. Coached
Yeah,
for what 30 seasons to get that many
yeah,
games coached.
yeah. I think he was started in the '60s and ended up somewhere in the '80s. I think.
Yeah, it's crazy to me looking at it because you look at these newer franchises we've been doing recently, and it's their winningest coach coached 80, 90 games, and this guy's out
Right.
here with 400 something.
Right. It's definitely people don't if you have one bad season, one or two bad seasons, you're down the road now.
Hmm.
Whereas before they stuck with guys. You know.
Yeah, so that's what I got for their leaders, and yeah, that's what I got for their or their history. Even though it's long, and you could do a 2 hour long episode about their history.
Right.
But we got to jump into current stuff, and of course, like I said, Jerry Jones, he's not doing good anymore. I think they hired Clayton Adams to be their new OC, and I did some digging on him, and he's the type of coach I like. I like that strong, gritty play. He really focuses on being aggressive and being. He used to be an O-line coach, taught the line how to be bruisers. He loves to just run it down your throat. So I really like that for him. I think taking a lot of load off Dak would be good.
Yeah. Yeah. They need to run the ball. So.
Yeah. And then, so they brought in this season, they brought in Miles Sanders, Dante Fowler Jr., the outside backer, then Paris Campbell. So those are, I think Paris Campbell will be pretty decent pickup, and same with Dante Fowler. We'll see how Miles Sanders goes into how much reps he gets, considering they drafted two backs this year. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I think it's just going to be a lot of guys playing low reps.
Right.
That's how I
Right.
see it.
I think they like sneaky wise. I mean, just they like sneakily had like one of the best drafts. I think
Yeah.
they ended up with some really high quality draft players. If you want to go into the draft real quick, like I mean, Tyler Booker was an outstanding pick. They might have reached for him as far as like draft grades go,
Yeah.
but now if you just get into the football side of things, like
Hmm.
just who's going to be ready, pro ready, going to get out there and be able to road grade, Tyler Booker's ready.
Yeah, especially, yeah, like with their new, like I said, they want the aggressive bruising offense, and now you got a 6'5", 320-pound powerful guard that's going to do exactly that. Just pave the road
Right,
for your
right,
running
and they
backs.
picked up a tackle too,
Yeah,
and so I mean they went O line. I think they ended up using 2 or 3 picks on O
they
line.
used to a Johnny Cornelius out of Oregon
Yep,
in the 6th round.
yep,
And it said he played tackle most, but he does have experience with guard, and I think he's more just going to be a subbing and play where they need him with through injuries and stuff like that. From what I've
right.
kind of looked into
Well,
from
and
experts.
yeah, if you look on there, it looks like if you look on their depth chart, I mean, he's the only rookie that's going to start is Tyler Booker. I mean, you got Tyler Guyton, Tyler Smith, Cooper Beebe is going to be their center. They don't have any depth at center, so I think they brought in some guys, undrafted free agents for that.
Yeah,
Tyler Booker at right guard, and then Terrence Still. These are. I think they did end up losing their center and their tackle to free agency. But I think one of them was just a depth piece,
yeah. I
and
think
then
their center was a depth piece, and
but
then
I
I thought
think
they lost.
Tyron Smith.
Yeah, that tackle that's been in the league for longer than I've been alive.
Right, and that's kind of a big loss. He was a really good tackle. So,
Yeah, yeah, he was a damn
um,
good piece.
but I think they're going to try to work that. I still think they're going to end up okay there.
I actually
Um,
think where they came
so
out on top this draft was defense, though. I know they
right,
got the
that's
running
what I was
back, they
about to
got a
say
line,
too.
they
Yeah,
got Donovan Ace rookie, which is, I mean, even if he doesn't put up production, he's going to help Micah Parsons' numbers because now you can't just send three guys Micah's way.
yep,
And then they also got Jay Tua, a defensive tackle out of UCLA, and he's a 340-pound defensive tackle. And that's where they really sucked was stopping the run. So now they got a big boy up front.
yeah, yeah. They ended up getting two defensive tackles. I think they grabbed one at the very end of the draft as well.
Yeah,
Donovan as a rookie, they got him sitting behind Parsons right now, Michael Parsons. But I think coming along, I think he's going to end up getting a lot of playing time. They got him behind there. They got Marshawn Nealon and Solomon Thomas over on that right or the left side.
yeah,
I think he's going to probably end up winning that
yeah.
spot. I
I
think he's
agree.
going to earn enough playing time to get there. But yeah, I like it. And you're talking defensive side of the ball. I'm looking at the fact that Siobhan Ravel
Fell to them with pick 76.
fell down to the third round. A lot of people had that guy graded as a first round talent.
Oh yeah,
And
I thought he was second or third corner on the board. I mean, he's 6'2", 194, running 4.40.
yep,
He's a
quick.
physical menace. He has good instincts. He's a hell of a tackler. I think it's probably the still the draft. Like I was reading NFL Draft Buzz, and they had him. Their analyst had him as probably the still the draft.
Yeah, I think so. I think when I started doing all this again, I was like, oh yeah, they did get him.
Yeah,
And then it was like, then as a rookie, they had him as a first round talent as well, which fell to them in the second round at 44. Now, I mean, this is all just draft speculation, but you also look at these guys and what they did. These guys were pretty good in
yeah,
college. So and that's all we got to go on now. But I think that they restocked pretty good. So, I mean, I think through the draft, they did a hell of a lot better in the draft than they did in free agency, in my
yeah.
opinion.
And then their round 5 guy, Shamar James, out of Florida. It seems like he's super energetic, super explosive. He's a little undersized, so maybe stop him run up the middle. I think any pulling lineman's going to put him on his ass because he's 6'1", 220.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he's super agile. I think he'll end up being a good piece for him too.
Yeah, they looked like they got him at well, they got him at strong side line. No, yeah, strong side linebacker, Smart James.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, none of the guys that they're picking right now, according to this chart, is going to be on starters on defense. But I think that's going to change as they go along. And it was just, I mean, their defense. I understand they had a lot of injuries last season, but
yeah.
they were not good, and
No,
so they needed some guys to come in and play. And they were real bad against the run.
and I think I mean
So,
really looking at it, I think Siobhan Regal's definitely going to end up being a day one starter.
oh
Yeah, I
yeah, he
think.
might be. Yeah,
Then I think the rest. I mean, we'll have to see how it goes. I just don't see how you have a guy like oh man, who's that corner that gets a lot of picks because he
so they
gives up a
got
lot of deep
Diggs,
routes.
Trevon
Trevon
Diggs,
Diggs, yeah,
and Deron Bland are their starting cornerback.
yeah, I think he beats out Trevon Diggs
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
even if anything, he's going to be their starting nickel corner.
Yeah,
I almost guarantee it.
yeah,
'Cause they got Kyer Elam. I think is he that dude out of from the Bills?
yeah. Who
And
had a couple good plays, so I think he's got potential. But you guys only see the
he got
big play that he really sold the bag on.
he
So
got burned all game long against the Chiefs.
yeah,
But
it
yeah,
was other games he put up decent numbers. He had, I think he's got
yeah.
more potential than other guys
Well,
will give him
there's
because they just see getting
yeah.
burned against the Chiefs.
Well,
But
that might be fair, but there's definitely room for Siobhan to move up. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Up that list there. I don't see them putting in Elam at corner at nickel corner.
yeah,
You
I
know,
think that's where Trayvon goes. I think you put Siobhan as the second guy, you put Trayvon as the nickel, and
yeah,
I think Kyer's a decent depth piece for him.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I was looking at their free agency, going back to that. I mean, they brought in Javante um, Williams from the Broncos for running
Yeah,
back. Miles Sanders, you mentioned that. So I mean, they're stacking that running back room, and they're going to figure out who's going to be their guy.
hmm
I like Blue as one of the running backs that you mentioned,
yeah, Jane Blue,
and that other guy which we mentioned. I'm not. I don't know. I can't.
that Phil Maffa that you
Yeah,
talk about. Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know much about him. I don't know if there's going to be enough room.
Oh, and
And even if
they also made a huge trade.
did you turn it off?
No,
Oh,
okay, we're good.
okay.
Just glitched out. Yeah, they made a huge trade though. They did. They brought in Joe Milton for a 5th round pick.
Joe Milton.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a couple hell of games, so
Yeah,
I mean, if he has to come in, something happens with Dak, he might not be too bad of a piece.
right. You never know. Yeah, I mean that's good quality, I guess, fifth round pick, but they kind of overpay for guys though. Like same thing with that Jonathan Mingo trade.
Yeah,
They overpay for guys, but they see somebody they want and get them. I agree with you though. I mean Milton might be all right
and they
because
got a seventh rounder back, which is probably how they ended up with Phil Maffa.
yeah, yeah. So I think going forward, I mean you look at what this team did last year. They were middle of the pack in passing yards, touchdowns, and sacks taken. So I mean that offensive line did okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Last season, and I know that was a big loss in Tyron Smith, but they're going to get younger now. I think they're going to do a little. I don't think it's going to be that big of a drop as far as their offensive line goes. And as far as like what they did last season, I mean, it was just like the two teams we were going to be doing this week, Cowboys and the Niners, both way better than the 11 and 12 because they were just both injury riddled. You know, this team got injury
injury
riddled on
bug. Yeah,
defense. Their starting quarterback went out for I think he went out week 3 for the rest of the season. It was early on, I think.
yeah, and then they struggled with Cooper Rush and whoever else they had to play in for a couple
Right.
games. So
They did catch fire at the end a little bit. I think their defense started getting healthy and they were able to pull a little bit together, but I think, they were 27th in rushing yards, and that's why they're restacking that rushing
and
room.
that's why they brought in a OC who focuses on running the ball too. I think
I think you're
because they
right.
realized that if
Big old guard, your first pick.
yeah,
Just start moving some people. Yeah, I totally agree. And then I mean, but so their offense was not great. It wasn't great, but it really wasn't the worst part of their season. It was their defense. I didn't even realize their defense was this bad. 28th in defense and total yards. They were middle of the pack in their passing yards,
but their
you
run
know,
game was terrible,
29th in rush
terrible.
defense.
That's why they. That's what I was reading into when they got that Toa Toia
Hmm.
that defensive tackle out of UCLA is because he's 6'2", 342 pound
Yep.
defensive tackle who, if nothing else, will definitely hold his cap.
Oh yeah, I think so. And then they were 31st in points given. So I mean, they gave up, second most points. I think the only one I don't know. I can't even remember which one was the number one, but it was bad. So anyway, yeah, you were looking at something. You got my eye
Oh, I
lit
know it
up.
was just the mics are being weird. They're being less responsive. I feel like, but
Yeah. So but I think they addressed a lot of these issues during the draft, and they're going to start out healthy, and I think that had a big thing to do with it because they weren't healthy most of the season. Their defense got shredded. Not quite as bad as the Lions, but they did get shredded, and I think that missing some guys didn't help. But I think they've addressed a lot of those problems. I think if these draft picks hit, watch out for this team. I really feel like that. Like I said, I wasn't that impressed with their free agency, but what they've done in the draft, these guys hit. I think they had enough talent there already. You still got C.D. Lamb, you still got a pretty good O line. Dak Prescott's still a good quarterback, and I mean, I think they could still use maybe a number 2 wide receiver. They we mentioned Jonathan Mingo. That was a bad.
that's what they brought. That's what they brought. Paris Campbell in to do.
Yep, but they got him down as the backup there. Jalen Tolbert is who they have on the other side.
Yeah, he'll lose that job eventually.
He must. Yeah, I
I
don't know.
bet. I don't think Paris Campbell should be a wide receiver 2 on any roster, but you look at Cowboys roster right now, I bet he wins that role.
Okay. So what do you feel about their tight ends? Because I got Jake Ferguson as a starter. And I'm asking this because Tyler Warren was still on the board when they took Booker.
I I think I think he does good enough that their bigger need should have been guard,
Guard.
especially bringing in a run heavy offense coordinator that likes Bruce. Like I've been saying, I think their bigger need was guard, even though. Yeah, I think Ferguson gets the job done. I think maybe next year they could be looking at tight end though, for sure.
Right. I'm kind of on that a little bit. I could see them going Tyler Warren and picking up another type of guard, but it was probably pretty tough for them to pass up on a guard on that caliber of a guard. Even though he
Yeah,
is inside interior lineman, they don't usually go very high. But that he's a stud. He moves people and he's ready, like we've talked about. So yeah, I was just wondering if like maybe a lot of their guys are kind of disappointed that they didn't go after a playmaker there, or wide receiver, or that really good tight end. Tyler Warren. Or I think Amika was still there at
yeah.
that time.
I think
I think the only one off the board was to Troya. Tetaroya.
Tetaroya. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they're. I, I I think there's too much emphasis on playmakers nowadays too, because it is like interior line falls. Even though if you have a guard like Tyler Booker, you're going to get 4 yards of carry, and
Right.
you won't need those playmakers because even this Jane Blue they drafted, who's 5'9", 196, and around a 4.38 and is elusive and stuff, he's still just going to guarantee you 4 yards. Whereas usually you need a big old power back.
Right. No, that's fair. I like what they did in the draft. I'm just wondering if some of their fans might be like, why didn't we go get a playmaker? Because they really, I mean, they drafted running backs, but they didn't. I don't think they drafted one wide receiver.
No,
And so that's kind of surprising. And I know that you said they brought in a guy, Paris Campbell, but we'll see how he does.
yeah, I don't think he's their. I don't think he is the caliber they should have went after, but I think he might. I think he holds his ground maybe well enough. I don't know. Like I said, Jerry Jones outdated, and I don't think you're ever going to see these Dallas Cowboys bring in exactly what they need in the offseason to have a draft that works out completely for them until Jerry's finally gives up on being the GM.
Yeah, passes that down a little bit,
Yeah.
you know, delegates more instead of doing it himself. Yeah, I was really surprised. Like I said, I think they did a lot to address the defense. Like we were right away, you said, I think what they did was on defense was the best. And I totally agree with you. They, two defensive tackles. I mean, that gives them two guys to try out. And I didn't look at their undrafted free agents today
Okay, so am I missing something? Because I got an edge in the DT. Are you
for defensive tackles.
considering? Yeah, are you considering Donovan a DT?
No, remember right before we started, I told you that there was another defensive tackle down there. It's Tommy Aking Basoda. He was their last pick. He was number 247.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and then yeah,
So
Jay
they
Toya was the defensive tackle, and
so
then
they have
Tommy.
two seventh round defensive tackles.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, seventh round, whatever. I mean, if they bring those guys in, they're going to play or they're going to not. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, they didn't draft them high. They didn't go get, but I think it's either, they drafted them. They got
Well,
drafted. They're going to
and every
come
NFL
in and
GM
play or
talks
not.
about how there's going to be starters, even coming UDFA's. I mean, we've seen people or I think there's people that fell to UDFA's that are going to be top of the league here in 3 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's kind of surprising some of the guys that ended up dropping out of the draft. It really did. Yeah. And when you do a deeper draft dive like we did this year, it really kind of makes you wonder. You're like, wow, really? I've actually watched this guy. How did nobody draft him? You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, I did. I mean, I was huge on Nick Nash this season watching the Cowboys coming into the draft. I thought he was first round talent, and then next thing you know, he's signed to the Falcons as an undrafted free agent.
Yeah. I mean, he was one of the first guys to come, like be signed,
Signed, yeah,
but it was like still, I thought at least he was worthy of a sixth or seventh at least, you
yeah.
know?
I thought it would have been crazy to see him fall that far. I thought he was a third round, second
Mhm.
round guy, and the only reason I put him there is because GMs do look at the Mountain West like they're not a great conference, even though the MVP came out of it. So
And I don't want to stir the pot anymore on the Stir Sanders thing, but I feel like on the Sanders thing, but I felt like Shiloh was good enough to be drafted as well, and he fell out of the draft completely.
yeah, I
You
agree. I
know?
think I think they. I mean, Shiloh. I didn't really hear him get too cocky, anyways. I thought it was Dion and Shadeur doing all the cockiness and all that
Hmm.
stuff, and I think Shiloh knew he wasn't all that, and
And he's
I
gonna
think
have to
he's
work harder. And
yeah, I think he's still probably a little cocky because it's in their genes, but
yeah,
I bet
it's part of the prime time.
yeah. I mean, they just I totally like the whole yeah. We're gonna make you pay for being a cocky ass Shadeur, but it hurt Shiloh too, and
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
Shiloh's got potential, and I think he's less cocky.
yeah. I mean, I thought he was an okay. I thought he was okay to take a chance on.
Yeah,
Sixth or seventh, I really did. But once you saw Sherder fall as far as he did, I guess that was probably inevitable. But it was just some guys just fell out of there, out of the draft that I didn't expect. And I'll have to take a look if they're undrafted. But I guess I could do it now. But I think they ended up with some pretty good guys. Uh,
yeah. I didn't recognize any names, but
but even
yeah,
if I just think they've addressed a lot of holes, and they're doing it the right way. I feel like going after the line. They're doing their lines, and they're trying to get those trenches shored up. I really like what they did, and I'm not a Cowboys fan by any means.
They did indeed go sign a tight end with Tyler Neville. They got Trayshawn Holden and Josh Kelly at wide receivers. They picked up 2 tight ends actually. Rivaldo Fairweather. So they've done kind of a lot after
After
the draft.
Right, undrafted. So I mean, that's probably where they're trying to find one. Find I guess gem, undrafted gem there at a playmaker. Find them a tight end and somebody who can come up and make better plays. I mean, like you said, Ferguson's. I think he's doable, but he's not. I don't think he's a stud. I don't think he's a star.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think he's a good possession guy, not a huge playmaker. And I guess if they want to go run heavy, I do like him in the run. So with them going to run heavy coordinator, maybe he's still the right fit for him.
Right. Okay. I mean, all that said, with their draft and what they've done, how do you see them finishing next season? What do you think seeing from them? Or this early? Because it's early, but
we'll have to see if they stay healthy. Of course, even come the end of OTAs, we'll have a better look and see who's all going to be healthy and stuff. But completely healthy. I think they, at least from now, I think they did a really good draft in defense, and I think they're a good 11-win wild card knockout team.
Yeah, because they're not going to win the playoffs.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
No. They'll probably 11-win season. They'll go out. They'll be like the 5th seed, and they'll get stomped.
Sorry, Cowboys fans, but they've been terrible in the playoffs for a long time. No, you know what? I'm like right on same page as you. I'm seeing 11-12 win team here. I think they're going to push for a division, but with Philly and Washington, but I don't know if they'll have enough to get past those guys. I actually think, in my opinion, they're probably going to finish a little bit higher than Washington, but I think Philly's just stacked again, and I think Philly's pretty much poised to win that division again.
I think
probably a 13, 14 win team.
I think this might be, if the Cowboys stay healthy, the most stacked division. I think they're going to be 11 wins and somehow end up being 3rd in their division.
And then just pop in.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I that's not a bad take either, because it is a really strong division now. And the Giants are the only weak link.
Yeah.
And that's kind of tough for them, too, because they do play in a hard division, but they are a good team. They have a good roster.
Yeah, they just need to stay healthy, man.
Yeah, if they stay healthy, I think you're going to see a playoff team, 11-12 wins. Not quite a division championship for them, but yeah, I agree with you, and I think they're a first-round exit, maybe a second-round exit in the playoffs.
One thing that should be mentioned about Javon Reevil, we've been talking about up a lot. He did have to get surgery, so that's why he fell his medicals. I did a little digging. So the Cowboys training staff, one of their doctors was the one that did the surgery, so they have more insight about Javon Reevil's injury and his comeback than most teams do.
Yeah.
So I think since the Cowboys were willing to take him, even though their doctor did his medicals, I think he'll be back and ready to go in full swing.
Okay.
I think it's just, if your doctor does the surgery and you still think he's worth a third, then you got to be seeing something that the rest of us aren't.
Yeah, well, he gets healthy. They stay healthy. Yeah, we're looking at a playoff team. This is a good dive. I mean, coming into this, I saw 2 teams that were up in the top that I really feel like are playoff teams, like right now playoff teams, and that was the Cowboys and the Niners.
Yeah.
And there might be a couple other playoff teams up there that might surprise people and get in there, but definitely these 2. I think both of these teams were bad, Niners and the Cowboys. This team was bad. Cowboys were bad because of injury.
Yep.
I don't think they're that bad of a team. I don't think they're a 7 and what were they, 7-10, 8 and 9. I don't think that's how bad of a team they are. I really feel like they're a 11-12 win team even last season, and I think they somehow probably even got better. Well, if those running backs work out, if they hit on these guys, they're going to be good.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I kind of wish they, especially now knowing that they have to run heavy, I wish they used a higher pick on a running back. But maybe they know something about Jaden Blue that I don't.
Right. I actually think some of those guys who went in the like 3rd round and up and back were really good value picks. I think there were some pretty damn good running backs. And I think he was one of them.
It was definitely a running back depth, lots of depth at running back. Then, of course, you had top talent with Ashton Jeanty, so it was a really good draft taking running back in.
Yep. Okay, well, that was a fun deep dive. I think that these guys are going to be a terror. And yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. This is the Finley Formation.